Oh, okay.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Basi Etim Susan, and welcome to the Oberoi Leadership Institute Advanced Info Session. And with me today is the CEO himself. I don't want to introduce him, so he's going to tell us a little bit about himself.
All right. My name is Ololade Otayemi. I am the CEO and founder of Your Bread Leadership Institute. No, actually, co-founder of Your Bread Leadership Institute. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I love to make things happen.
Okay, that's good. So you said you are the co-founder of the Oberoi Leadership Institute. Who
Mhm.
else is there somebody else we should?
Yeah, 2017, I co-founded Your Bread Leadership Institute with my wife, Ngozi Otayemi,
Okay.
and we started running together since then until after some time she had to focus on some other things. So yeah,
Okay.
so I went solo from there.
Okay. That's good. So let's go straight into the reason why we are here today. So I will just ask you a few questions and you'd answer as best as you can. So first of all, tell us what is OLI? What is the Urban Leadership
Okay,
Institute?
I think the best way I would describe it is that OLI is a revolution for education, because when I look at the educational system generally, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Nigeria, I've come to see from my own personal experience that the what do you call it now? The way the educational system is designed is not designed the best way it can be. I'll use my own personal example. So while I was in uni, I would have cases where I'll be in class and I'll be asking, so as I was saying, we I realized that the educational system in Nigeria, the way it was designed, was not optimal, if I can use that word. And it's not just in Nigeria, it's also the same issue in some other parts of Africa, where people go to school, they come up with certificates, but not necessarily with the knowledge that they were
Mm,
supposed to get.
yeah.
And for me, that became a personal issue because I'm someone who is more particular about knowledge than certificates.
Certificate itself.
So I was in school and I would ask my professor questions and he would say, "Don't ask me, that was what I was taught."
True.
So you can
True. Yes,
imagine.
yes, yes.
So I'm like, you know what? How do I then learn anything from this if all I'm here to do is to just hear what you have to say and not really gain knowledge? So That for me has always been an issue. Then the other part of it was then going into business and starting business. I realized that I didn't really have the time, right, to sit down in classes. I tried to do degree programs many times and it just never worked because I was always very busy.
Very busy.
So OLI was just the perfect opportunity because the way it is designed, it's very flexible, and it's knowledge based. I like to call it that because you have to submit assignments, and for you to do those assignments, you have to do a lot of research. So that means that you would actually get knowledge that is required in your field. So that's it.
All right. So you've also spoken about what inspired OLIA. That's for you. That's your personal experience. So now I'm going to ask, what are the benefits? Why should I, a student, consider the program?
I think there are a lot of benefits.
Okay.
There are a lot of benefits. Number one is the way the programs are designed. They are designed to be very flexible, which I think is a big one nowadays because not many people have the time to go and sit down in classes for long hours of lectures and things like that. So that's the first one, the flexibility.
Flexibility.
So, and the thing with flexibility is, so let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If you had two choices, one choice is for you to go back to school full time. The other choice is for you to be able to work and school at the same time. And this schooling at the same time is at your own pace. So let me put it this way. It is not like you know what they call part-time education.
Yes.
Where you go to school on Fridays and
Then
Saturdays.
the other days.
Then you work the other days. Or you go to school, then maybe around 3 p.m. you have to go to work. This is different. This you get to do it at your own pace. Wouldn't you take that offer?
I would.
Yeah.
I would actually.
So that's an example of why this program just stands out. The other part of it is that many of the programs that we have out there require you to have a certain level of educational qualification. So, for example, you want to do a master's degree now, you need to have, I think you're required to have a 2-2 in your BSc or something like that, right? And some institutions are very strict with these things. So with our program, whether you have a BSc, whether you have a school leaving certificate, whether you have a high school diploma, whatever you have works. Because the way our programs are designed is such that any level you come in, at any level, when you come in at that level, we look at what level you're in, you enter there, and then you can build up to whatever educational level you want to go to. Because our curriculum is designed primarily with the UK educational standard. So what that means is the UK educational standard is designed in levels of diploma. So we have level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and it keeps going on and on like that. So for example, someone comes into level 1. Level 1 is what we consider in Nigeria primary school. That's in the UK, they call it grade 1 to 6. So you enter your grade 1 to 6 and you can, so let's say the person did not go to primary school. Let's assume, right? If the person didn't go to primary school, for example, the person can still join our program, right? Because what that means is the person would then take this level 1 diploma to learn the prerequisites, the things they should have learned if they had gone to primary school. So let's say the person has that, the person does not have secondary school or WAEC or NECO or high school or whatever it is, they can take our next level of diplomas, which would be grade 7 to 12 now, which is level 2 diploma. And that builds them up for them to have that. And it goes on and on, like even up to doctorate. So if you want to do doctorate and you don't even have HND, you can build up to it with our program. Yeah. So that's another advantage. But I don't know if you have any other question before I continue. Because
so that means it doesn't matter what level of educational qualification I have.
There's
a place for me.
Yep.
Okay.
So let me say this there. So one of the challenges that people are facing with education in Africa is access.
Yeah.
And access being that a lot of people are being segregated because you either don't have the qualification, you did not go to the right school, because there are some schools that you go and then you present a
Sure.
certain certificate from a
Sure, like,
school and they tell you no,
yeah, that's right.
right?
Yeah.
So so that means that with our program, you can come in at any level and there's no discrimination. Access is a critical thing that we're trying to solve here. Access to education for everybody. Because think about it. I went to one school in my village, for example. It wasn't my fault that I went to school in my village. It was just that I was born there.
Yeah.
I grew up there. So why should I be penalized because I did not go to one of the schools in the city? And because of that, you tell me I
You
can't get a
cannot get
university degree.
admission. Yeah.
So that's another thing that we have considered here, to give everybody equal access. So it doesn't matter what your education, it doesn't matter where you schooled, it doesn't matter your degree or your level of what's the word now?
Level of education.
Your level of education. The word I'm looking for is the grade with which you graduated. Say for example, you know, so let me put it this way. Yeah, there was a time when if you wanted to enter university, you had to have a pass in. They'll say,
Yeah.
let's say, for example, you want to do computer science, you have to have
Maybe
two,
a 200 in jam or so.
250 or
Yeah.
300 in jam for some cases. Then when you pass jam, they'll say, okay, you pass jam, UTME.
UTME.
Then they'll now go to the next one. Let's look at your WAEC result.
Yeah.
And they'll look at your WAEC result and say, no, you need to have maths, English,
Yes.
physics, chemistry, biology, this, that, and that, and that. What that did was it shut the door to a lot of people who could not access that level of education. So with OLI, a program, a degree, a master's program, we've removed all those barriers. And the reason why we remove them is we're giving people an opportunity to prove themselves that they know what they're doing. People are smart. They know what they're doing. They can think, they can research. If you can study and you can think and you can research and you can piece two or three pieces of information together to make sense, you can get a degree from us. So that's it.
That's it.
Mhm.
Okay, so on your website, you spoke about flexible payment plan. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes. I think that's a very good question, by the way. That's one of the benefits that I was going to mention. So payment finances is one of the things that is
Yeah.
holding people from being able to access education. So I'll give an example. There are certain people who cannot get into certain institutions because, okay, like there are people in Nigeria, for example, today who have never been to the airport before. Not talk of even traveling from Lagos to Abuja or Port Harcourt to Lagos. Not talk of traveling abroad to the UK or to the US, right?
Yeah.
With our program, because our partners, Metropolitan School of Business and Management, are based in the UK, with this relationship, we can leverage educational institutions in the UK, US, and Europe and bring that educational content to our people here in Nigeria at a fraction of the cost. And let me explain why. Because a lot of people are wondering, why are our degrees way cheaper
Cheaper,
than?
yeah.
It's simple. When you go and study in a school in the UK, for example, number one, you are going to be spending money on accommodation, feeding,
Minus
the
tuition.
minus tuition. I'm not even talking about tuition yet. You're going to fly yourself there, you
Yeah.
get your visa, all of that. That on its own is a lot of money. On the other side, when we now talk about the tuition, the reason why the tuition is high is simple. You see, the school has overhead.
Yeah.
When you sit in a class as a student, you are consuming school resources. Power is there. The instructors, the facilitators, or the lecturers that are teaching you are being paid, you know. But when you convert all of these resources and you take it into what we call the EdTech model, which is educational technology using MOOC platforms, which is one of the platforms that we have designed by MSBM. What you then do is you drop that overhead by less than half. Because now that you don't have to pay a lecturer for every hour that they come and teach the students because you've pre-recorded the content.
Yeah.
The student just needs to go watch the content. And so when you consider all of this, this is why our cost is significantly lower. And another reason why it's low is because the pricing is specifically designed for Africa. Because the African market is considered to be an emerging market. So when products are being brought here, they are brought here at much reduced cost. So that's why we've been able to gather all of these degrees, gather all of these programs at much more significantly reduced cost. And that is why we are now able to spread the payment for people over a period of time, because once you can make the payment flexible for people, you also remove that barrier. Because there are a lot of people who cannot afford to pay £15,000 for a degree.
Yeah.
But we have degrees that are as low as £5,000 total tuition, and you can spread it for years and be paying it in bits. So for someone who is earning, say, 300,000 or 100,000 per month or 150,000, you can still earn a degree. Because what you then need to do is to look at how much do you earn, how do we help you break this payment down, what courses can you start with to build you up, and how can you spread this payment over. And this is the good thing with our degrees. As you advance, it gives you more job or better job opportunities. So if you started the degree with a job that is paying you very low, by the time you are getting to a certain level, you will be able to afford it because it builds you up over time. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the advantage.
Okay. You've spoken about the payment plan, the flexible learning. You haven't said anything about the duration. Do I also have to spend the number of years I would spend in a traditional educational system?
Actually, no.
Okay.
And that's a very good part of the program as well. So our curriculums are designed with UK standards. So a typical BSc in UK would take 3 years. And it's not even really 3 calendar years if you look at it, to be honest. But if you now want to do BSc honors, which you would spend your final year, the fourth year on campus, and some institutions even give you a job on campus, then that's 4 years. However, the way these programs are designed is such that if you are able to fast track the pace of your learning, you can finish quicker. It depends on you. That's why our programs are self-paced. So self-paced meaning that you decide the pace.
Yeah.
If you want to do it for 5 years, great.
That's up to
If you want to finish it in a year, fantastic. If you think you can keep up. So someone reached out to us the other day. He wanted to, I think he had an HND and he wanted to do a BSc. And when we were discussing and we were discussing with the partners, we realized that the person had other certifications that would only require the person to submit 6 assignments. And if the person can do those six researches, submit those 6 assignments, and the institution that is awarding the degree, because, and I think that's on that now explain,
Yeah.
we don't award the degrees. We have partner universities in UK, US, and Europe that award the degree for the various ones. We have about 400 different programs that you can take on our platform. So when the students submit their assignments and the instructor goes through the research and what is submitted and sees that, oh, this meets the standard, they would award them the degree just by submitting 6 assignments.
Do you know how many assignments we have submitted in our in how many years? Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question about the different programs that, like the courses that are
Hmm.
offered in OLI. Can you also
So,
elaborate on that?
interesting. That's one of the things I was pulling up on my iPad just now.
Okay.
So, we have a lot of programs. We have programs ranging from business to law to um, medical sciences to professional certification courses. And when you go to our platform, you'd see there are different categories that we have. We have bachelor's degrees, we have
Mm.
master's degrees, we have doctorate degrees. We also have international diplomas. We have professional certification courses. Like, and the reason why we're able to do this is because we have a lot of partner universities. And what this affords us to do is to be able to host almost all the programs that our partner universities have on our platform. So whether it's cybersecurity, you're looking for maybe a BSc or a bachelor's or a doctorate in cybersecurity, we have it. So it's a wide range. We also have courses in hospitality, we have courses in event management, we have courses in executive management. And all of these courses range from diplomas to certification courses to BSc to MSc to PhD programs. So we have a wide. I think we have more courses than most universities, if you ask me, because we are what you call a pathway college, which is we institute or institutionalize a lot of universities or integrate a lot of universities into our platform.
Okay, so whether I'm looking for a degree, a
Hmm.
certification, OLA has me covered.
Everything. We got
Okay,
your back.
so now you spoke briefly about the partnership, like
Hmm.
partnership. Can you expatiate on that?
Okay, so the way we okay, so let me backtrack a bit.
Yeah.
All right. OLIA is a very unique attempt to solve a big problem. And one thing I've come to realize is that when you're solving a big problem, you can't solve it alone.
Mm.
So the attempt was what brought about this partnership. And the partnership is in three levels. For an educational institution like a university to function, it needs certain components to be in place. There is the academic part of it, which is the core, which is at the center of it. There is the administrative part of it, right? And then there is the regulatory part of it. Now, there are also other components that are now being infused into education. One of the components that are being infused into education today is technology.
Mm.
So if you add that, you then have administrative, you have academic, you have technology, you have regulatory. So what we have right now is a bouquet of all of these partners in OLIA. So in OLIA, we have Urban Leadership Institute, which is the administrative
Mm.
partner,
Yeah.
right? Then we have Metropolitan School of Business and Management, which is the technology partner, because all of this runs on MSBM's proprietary technology. MSBM has built a platform over the years, over time, right? That other institutions have even used. They've been in this technology business, ed tech business for some years. So we have that. Then we then have the universities who are the degree awarding bodies. They are the ones who award these degrees. They are the ones who actually give the degrees, right? So we handle the administrative part, the student relations part, just ensuring that the students are onboarded, enrolled, well taken care of, everything is going fine. MSBM handles the technological end of things, and they're sort of the link, the cord connecting the students and the institutions, right? Um, then the institutions themselves handle the regulatory end of things. So all these institutions are accredited universities. Some of them have been are universities that have been running for decades, right? So they have good track record. Then they handle the academic end of this. So the professors that are engaging the students, teaching the students, marking the assessments, and grading the students are from these institutions. When all of those are done, the institutions award the degree. So that's the different, those are different levels of partnership that come together to form OLI Advanced. It sounds complex, but
Yeah.
we've sorted it out on the back end.
So it's more like all I have to do is just come and register for the
Yes.
program.
And
Then
we'll figure the rest out.
all right, okay. So let me ask you this question. So how would you define success for like beyond, the traditional academic metrics? How would you define success for OLI?
Um, I think that when I look at OLIA generally, beyond just enrolling students, I think success would really mean students graduating from these programs and being able to access global jobs or starting businesses that are leading globally. There's a concept we call guaranteed outcomes. And the guaranteed outcomes concept is simple. It just says, if I'm a student and I go to school, what is the guarantee that if I come out, I'll get a job?
Yeah, actually.
Which is still a big problem in education today. So our goal is to ensure that every student that comes out of our program either is able to get a very good job or start a very successful business. Or if they already started a business before, are able to grow that business to become more successful. Alternatively, if they had a job before, they're able to grow on that job significantly. That for us is what success would mean.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to take you back a little bit. You spoke about the curriculums. I'm going to ask, how do you think the current OLI curriculum is evolving, or is evolving with the current changes that the world is undergoing?
So,
It-
yes, so I understand your question.
Okay.
And let me use myself as an example. I am a I'm a business executive, for example. I run multiple companies, right? The way the world is changing with the advent of AI, with all of this, the educational system is also changing.
Yeah.
Because the knowledge that we used to go to school for 4 years to learn, you can now ask ChatGPT and it will tell you at an instant.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, right?
Yeah.
So the question then becomes, what then makes this whole education thing different? When we're getting to an era where people don't necessarily have to know things, they just have to know how to use technology. But there is a twist to it, which is the fact that as AI advances, it's going to need more and more intelligent human control.
Yeah.
Which means humans will have to be much more intelligent with how we use and interact with machines and technology for us to make the best of them. Now, all of our programs are designed with that futuristic view in mind. So you look at our cybersecurity course, for example. The cybersecurity program is designed with the futuristic view in mind, because some of the universities that we're working with are in UK and Europe, who are some of the leading cybersecurity societies in the world, cybersecurity conscious societies in the world. So when you begin to look at it like that, you realize that as we move, as we grow, as everybody tries their best to advance in the various things that they're doing, technology is pushing all of us to move faster. I was listening to the news yesterday, and the US government has to start coming up with some new rules or that's not the word I'm looking for. Like laws, for example, I think that's the best way to put it for the use of AI. So if our students come out of school and we are still teaching them things that they were taught in 1962, then they are not going to be able to fit. That's why, you see, when I hear people say things like there are no jobs, it's a lie. People are not just employable. That's why a lot of students are coming out of school and they cannot be employed because the things they are taught by the time they get out of school are obsolete. The advantage of using a platform like ours is because is that because the world is moving so fast and this thing is technology based, we can easily update our curriculum.
Yeah.
So the curriculum is constantly changing and constantly evolving. So that's
So it's constantly adapting to what is happening. Okay. All right. So you spoke about the different types of learners that can thrive in Oberlin Leadership Institute, right? So I just want you to throw a little bit more light. So I don't want to feel like, oh, okay, he mentioned HAD. I have not gotten to that part. So does it mean that if I don't have a WIEC, if I don't have a JAM, can I still apply for this program as well?
so here's the sweet thing about our program. It doesn't really matter what you have. We have this model we call come as you are. So whether you have a BSc, whether you have an MSc, whether you have no SC at all, you can come. That's how it's designed. And the reason why we designed it like that is so that we can give people access to education. We can give people an opportunity to prove themselves to the world, to the society, that they have what it takes. Now, this is another interesting thing about our programs. Our program doesn't just give you degrees, it also helps you and opens you up to global opportunities. So, for example, if you start a program with us and you decide that, you know what, I've done this program for 2 years, my last final year, I want to go to
Oh, yeah. I
UK.
was about to ask that.
Yes.
I don't want to do it here.
If you don't want to do it here, our universities will actually support you with your visa processing processing application and all of that. They will
Wow.
give you the necessary support that is needed. And the reason for that is we understand that a lot of people want these things, but they just cannot, it's not
They don't know how to-
attainable.
yeah.
So we're trying to make it attainable for people. So whether you think you can afford it, and there was something that I was telling someone this morning, that a lot of people in their mind disqualify themselves because they just assume, oh, it's a UK degree, I can't afford it. But they'll be buying shawarma. They put it together and we spread the payment plan for them. They can actually afford it.
Okay. So the program is for everybody and anybody. You said something about come as you are.
Yes, just come as you are.
Just come as you
Just
are.
come. Just all you need is you have a brain, you can learn, and you are willing to learn. That's all. That's all we need.
So you spoke about the flexible payment plan.
Yes,
Spoke about how flexible is when you want to graduate is totally up to
it's
you.
up to you.
So if you want to
They,
spend
they
5 years,
say, like they say in my village, use your own hand to do yourself.
okay. Then you also spoke about the partnership with the Metropolitan University. You It's not Oberlin Leadership Institute that is awarding
The
the
degrees. No.
degrees. Okay. So is there anything else that you would want us to?
Yeah, I think as we close, I would just like to encourage as many people that are going to watch this, whether you're watching it live or you watch it later, that the future you desire is something you can create. It's not far-fetched anymore. Getting a degree from UK, US, Europe, or wherever is no longer as difficult as it used to be. It's now so easy. You know, it reminds me of when those years, if you wanted to make a phone call, we had to go to call centers. Now everybody has a phone.
Yeah.
The same thing now is what is happening to education. Education is becoming very accessible to people, very easy, very The barriers are being removed. So everybody is welcome, whether you think you can afford it or not, whether you think you qualify for it or not. You might actually qualify more than you know. You know the funny thing? Some people have done some courses that they didn't know would add up for them.
Yeah.
Like someone, for example, might think, oh, I don't have a university degree, but you did ICANN. You're a chartered accountant. You might not have a BSc, you might not. That can apply for you to build up, right? For you to do a master's or a PhD. People don't know.
Sometimes it's just about the right information. All right, I think my favorite thing about this program is the fact that I don't necessarily need a specific qualification, and there's a flexible payment plan for me. So whether I'm working or I am not working, I can decide, oh, every month I'm just going to put out this certain amount of money for my education. And I like the fact that it is when I want to graduate that I graduate. No strikes, no anything.
Yeah.
All right.
And that strike is a big issue.
Yes.
You can do it. You know, I went to OAU, and when you enter OAU, they'll tell you your degree is, if you are doing a 4 years degree, they'll tell you it's 4 plus X. That X is strike. There was a time we had a strike for an entire year.
Yeah.
A whole year we didn't go to school. A whole year. So, but with all of those barriers are now removed. And the good thing is when you get your degree, and this is important that I say this, that when you get that certificate is actually the same certificate that people who school in those schools abroad physically get. No difference.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So because I submit assignments, just because I do assignments,
yes,
I get to have a degree.
The assignments are not as easy as you make it sound, but yes, they are research-based work.
Assignments.
They're actually work that you can publish, right, as your published work. So that's how the program is designed. The program is not just designed for lazy, it's designed for you to think and use your brain, such that when you get into the marketplace, you won't be talking theory. It will be stuff that you've actually thought through, you've done research on, you know what you're saying. You know, you hire people today, and I was watching a video of someone who said he studied French in school, and he used that to get a job. He had it on his CV. Then a partner now came from France to their company and said, oh, that guy wrote in his CV that he studied French, go call him. And they told him to come and interpret, and he could not interpret. No, we're not doing that. This one will test the knowledge to be sure that you actually learned the things because before those degrees are awarded, the schools have to be sure that you actually know the things that you claim you know before they can award the degree. Yeah. So that's it.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming to answer some of our questions. And if you have any more questions, feel free to drop a comment in our social media handles, and we'll be able to get through to you as fast as we can. And you can also visit our website for more information as well.
All right. Thank you.